We're so pleased to have an update today from our Elko City Parks and Recreation Director. James Wiley joins us in for our city show on Tuesday. James, thank you for being here. We know it's been a busy few weeks. Well, you're always on to something. There's always something going on in Parks and Rec. So thanks for making time today.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here.
So obviously, James gave an update to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board during last Thursday's October 16th meeting. You had a full board on hand and a lot of exciting updates, James. So I thought we could kind of get started with that.
Yeah, happy to do that. We've got quite a few things in the mix right now, so we can get to talking about it.
So we're all excited, the whole community, to get to literally dive into our new city swimming pool. Of course, with much appreciation to Boys and Girls Clubs of Elko. They're an important community partner. There's an adjoining recreation center that includes some meeting rooms and fitness rooms and some other amenities that have been long promised to Elko. And we're getting closer to hopefully getting this new pool in 2026.
Yeah, so it's been under construction for some time, and it's progressing nicely. I will say that on October 28th, Rusty Barr will be doing a presentation for the community and the city council, so he may have some more updates than I have on it, but things are looking pretty good over there, moving along, and it's busy most days of the week for construction. But he has stated that the goal is to have that new center and pool open around the first week of the new year. So if we get there, then that'll be great news, and we'll open it, and it'll be exciting for the community.
That's right. We should be flexible and understanding because, like many construction projects right now, there are things that are out of our control. Could have to do with delivery of supplies, some of those finishing touches, a lot that could happen. But we will look forward to Rusty Barr's update on October 28th at the City Council meeting. And just to recap, we're getting 2 swimming pools. There's a recreation pool, I guess a kiddie pool area, as well as an Olympic-sized pool for competitions.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it's Olympic-sized.
Oh, but I guess competition
It will suit for competitive swimming in there. And I think it has, I want to say 6 lanes. I can't remember. Adjacent to that is a narrow linear pool. It's kind of the warm-up for the other pool, but it has a couple of lanes in it. It can also be used for physical therapy, and it's a warmer pool. So the other side will be colder. This will be a little warmer. And then there is kind of a zero entry kiddie pool that's inside. I believe there will be also a slide into the deep end of the pool. And that's all indoors. And then they have leased from the city of Elko the old outdoor pool, which is right next door to the new facility. And I'm not sure how long that will be before that's up and going, but Rusty does have plans to get that operating as well at some point in time. And that'll just make that whole complex a lot nicer. And it will also have an outdoor element to it.
Indoors and outdoors, lots of fun summer and year-round, from what we understand with those new indoor pool facilities. They'll be actually constructed for year-round use.
Yep.
That's great, James. Thank you. And again, the project will be entirely in the hands of Boys and Girls Clubs going forward, but just to reassure listeners, it is a community pool. It will be open for use to everybody.
Yes, that was the whole goal, and this fit in really nicely. The city of Elko had spent quite a few years doing feasibility studies. We had conceptual plans. The cost to do that project was pretty much out of our budget. And so this was a good opportunity to partner with another group in the community for the community, and we're actually getting that done. And so kudos to the Boys and Girls Club, and kudos to the city of Elko for working together. We've contributed some money, we've contributed some land, and we will also continue to assist with the operational costs of this facility going forward. So yes, I do want to reiterate that this is for the community. There are some fees associated with utilizing the facility, and I think they call them memberships, but yeah, it's not a whole lot different than what you're used to seeing with our old community pool. Small fee, season, yearly passes, monthly passes, that sort of thing. but yes, everybody is welcome to use it. It'll be so great when we open those doors.
Yeah, it'll be so great. I can just, I would love to see the looks on everybody's faces when they see just the new locker rooms, because I know that's always been sort of the big disappointment too at the old pool. That,
Well, it will be new and shiny,
yes,
and that will be exciting in itself. But I know that they have, I don't know that I've really looked at the locker facilities in there, but they do have a lot of individual restroom facilities in there. It's not one big open restroom. So there's a multitude of those where they're private, and you're not, community
showering and that
open.
kind of thing. Yes,
yes. So that's kind of neat. And then there's also a full-size gymnasium in the facility for basketball, volleyball, and whatever else we can come up with, along with a workout room with cardio and weights, teen room, and a kitchen, so they can host events there and they can serve food. And so it's a very nice facility, and what an accomplishment for our community. And it's been a long time coming.
That's right. We're almost there, and we'll find out more with the latest details on October 28th. Our guest today is James Wiley. He's director of Elko City Parks and Recreation. So the next topic was this parks conversion process, which we haven't discussed a lot, but it's also exciting because it provides another space for a neighborhood that hasn't had a playground before.
Right. So we're calling it a conversion process because this is what kind of triggered the movement up to where we're going. But years ago, and not so much recently, but years ago, that's how the park system were built in our community, was through Land, Water, and Conservation Fund grant monies. With the acceptance of those monies there's strings attached to that. And the whole purpose behind it was to maintain outdoor recreation within a community. So if you're a beneficiary of those monies, they want to keep those amenities basically forever. So in the event that you do kind of displace or disrupt or change, there's a necessary rule that we have to go out and we have to replace those encumbered lands with new, not previously owned parkland, and we have to convert what we're disrupting equally or exceed that. And the purpose behind that is outdoor recreation. That's the whole purpose of those grant monies. But we've had a small parcel up at the top of Stitzel Drive for a number of years that's city owned. It's roughly about a 1/4 acre. We picked that up years ago with the intention of having a neighborhood park in that area. That corner of our community is grossly underserved in terms of outdoor amenities close to home. So we started looking at developing that. But in addition to that, we need to pick up some other acreage, and we've been working with the church up there, who has a fairly large chunk of ground up there that's currently not being used. And we're working through a process to gain about an additional 4 acres up there to accommodate the ground that we're displacing by getting rid of the old pool and the museum expansion. And so we're currently in the appraisal process right now, and we're waiting for those numbers to come through, and we're hopeful that things will look good and we can move on to the next step in that process. But ultimately, we'll have a nice little neighborhood green space up there, playground, grass, trees, maybe a picnic shelter or two, some sort of a parking lot, and then coming down off of the hill through one of the drainages, we'd like to do a walking loop that loops you back down towards Mountain City Highway and then back up to the park.
Very nice. So you've got your natural areas as well as a developed park with some playground equipment. And as you said, that's also been an area that has been underserved. So again, just explaining that the parks conversion process is when you take up an encumbered space for a new purpose, you have to replace that ground for equal value or more, and that's what the city's in the process of doing. So
yeah, and it's a process.
Yeah, I'm sure
it's going to take a little bit of time to get through the whole thing, but The next biggest step in that is getting some numbers in terms of property values and making sure that we get approval to move forward from there.
All right. But it's in the works. So that's great news. And we're going to check in with our Northeastern Nevada Museum to see how their expansion plan is going. Like all these really great things that we talk about, especially the expensive ones, it takes a lot of time and a lot of planning. So we don't just get bulldozers and start pulling stuff down. And we're working on it. So, and that takes us to, unless there's anything else you want people to know about the park conversion, but to the court rehabilitation, which is also great news. I know Lynette Davis is on your Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, and Coach Davis seemed really excited about the pickleball progress.
Yeah, I think it is exciting. We've kind of gotten by with temporary courts and temporary setups that are also multi-use. And multi-use is a great thing, except when you have to compete with other uses. So there's some logistical nightmares in that. But our pickleball community has grown pretty rapidly here in Elko. It's grown immensely across the country. Pickleball is probably the number one outdoor recreational activity across the country, and it's still trending upwards. So it was the right time to get a little bit better facilities, a little more designated for that specific activity here in town, and that's part of this project. The pickleball will be concentrated down on the south side park area, and there's 2 tennis courts down there adjacent to 2 basketball courts. On the old tennis side, we will be converting that to designating that for pickleball courts, and there will be 6 individual pickleball courts within that court, with divider fencings, new surfacing, permanent netting, and no other competing lines on the court. But in addition to that, there's an old outdoor roller rink that's been in Elko for years. It was used by a hockey club at one time, and it's kind of been sitting there for a number of years, not getting a whole lot of use, a little dilapidated. So we came up with the idea that, hey, well, pickleball is growing. Where else can we go? And conveniently, it's right across the street. And so we will be adding an additional 5 courts across the street. So we'll have a total of 11 courts for our community, and that's a great improvement over what we've had. And then on the other court rehab part, we come over to the main city park area where the old handball court is, and we have a smaller basketball court there. The condition of those slabs was getting a little bit out of hand, and so it's a good time to pour new slabs in there, do some new surfacing, and new basketball standards on the basketball side, new fencing, just get those courts back in a better state of mind, and take care of some maintenance issues on those, and just have nicer amenities there.
And they're all such popular amenities and sports, as you're describing, James, from the basketball, the handball, the pickleball. It's not going away. It's getting better with those improvements. And, you know, who would have thought you went from, mowing lawns and raking leaves to now you're helping us design a better community with all of these great amenities that we get to enjoy for free?
Yeah, I didn't know that I envisioned landing in this seat years ago, not too long ago, but I started in this business at the very bottom. I was a laborer. My first job in Parks and Recreation was grooming baseball diamonds as a seasonal worker, and it just kind of grew from there. I eventually went full-time. I love doing the maintenance side of things. There's a lot of self-satisfaction in just mowing grass and grooming a ball field and growing trees and that sort of thing. But I've pretty much done it all in Parks and Rec, I can say, and I landed in this position about 13, 14 years ago maybe. I can't remember, but it was late 2011, I believe. And I had to learn more of an administrative role and more of a management role, which has been a great journey. But my main focus in that role is on capital improvements within the system. And so I think we've come a long ways. We've had some very exciting projects throughout the park system and a lot of upgrades, and there's many more to come.
And that's what we're talking about today with James Wiley, our Elko City Parks and Recreation Director. James, we owe you and your staff, your small staff, small but dedicated crew, a real debt of gratitude for all the accomplishments and then what is yet to come, because, we're not just pouring it on. I mean, there is more planning in the City Parks and Recreation Department, more involvement. We have a citizen advisory board. They're all really eager. You're responsive to them, to what they bring in from the community, not just from their own experiences. So it's a great way to shape recreation.
Yeah, it's alive and well here. We have a lot of community support, a lot of community involvement. I get a number of phone calls throughout the year of people that just want to help us out, volunteer. And so you couple that with the Cleanup Green Up Day, and we have a lot of community involvement that I think is generally geared around parks and recreation. It's very important for our community, and it's very important anywhere, really. But parks and recreation is kind of a big deal.
It is definitely a big deal. And the community participates in the strategic planning of it, as well as staying on top of that budget. I wanted to, speaking of what's ahead, kind of brag a little bit about, I was at the Parks and Rec meeting, and you were talking about 60 or 70 teams coming over Father's Day weekend in June of 2026. I think the word you used was huge. And of course, we're talking about the use of our brand new sports complex.
Correct. I think there's some people that have lived in Elko for a long time and would say that we've hosted huge tournaments before. I remember hearing about teams that came from Hawaii and Guam just to play in a tournament here. So we're not new to that, but this is a big deal. And this is, I believe, maybe a little unique in where we are working with a tournament director, a Western regional tournament director. And the neat thing about that is they'll come to town and they manage it, they run it, they do everything that it takes on a tournament weekend. We've done that in-house, and that is a tremendous amount of work. It's 14 to 16-hour days and then some for 3 or 4 days. And so this is great. This is one of the reasons we moved forward and we expanded our baseball and softball facilities down there on the river to the new sports complex. One of the main goals was to be able to attract outside teams to come and play ball in our community. And so we also built that for our local community. We have a pretty growing population of baseball and softball players, and we're at a good place right now in terms of those facilities. And so this is big news. We worked with one of our local travel ball clubs. They introduced this to this tournament director, and it's looking like, I think a flyer's been out if you've been on social media. I haven't seen it yet. I'm not a big social media person, but they've already gotten the word out, and looking forward to this Father's Day weekend in June. And come out. If you want to see some good baseball, these will be highly competitive teams, and teams that travel basically all over the West, and that's what they do. They play baseball, and there's some really good competition in these things, so it'll be nice.
So these are the adults?
This is youth.
Okay.
It's a wide age group. I believe all the way up to 16U, if I'm not mistaken. They might even be including some 18U in this, I'm not sure, but anywhere from probably 10U and up.
Wow, so that really could open the door to, depending on their experience, which I'm sure Elko will show them a great time. But, that puts us on the map, right, James?
It does, and Joe Carr actually met with this tournament director, and he was just amazed by Elko. I don't think he'd been here before. He was amazed with our facilities and was very eager to bring this to our area.
Wow, that is fantastic. So more to come on that. Complete with a guest director, all age groups. It looks like baseball softball tournaments yet to come. Those will be planned too, I'm sure, going forward. But this is the big one. Does it have a name by chance, or
it does.
It's okay if you don't remember.
I don't have it on the top of my head right
Next
now.
time, we've got some time because this is in June, but that was really cool news that you announced during last week's Parks and Rec meeting, James. That's great.
Yeah, and then on the weekend past that, we've gotten word that District 3 Little League will be hosting their district tournament here. We've done this before. These are always fun. They're great, but it brings a lot of people from all over northern Nevada to our area, and they play Little League, and those are great tournaments as well. We welcome those. We're glad to be hosting that again.
Oh, that's where I had a note. District 3 Little League is also coming in 2026.
Yes.
Super cool news. Well, you can provide maybe a quick update, because I know there are yet some improvements coming to the sports complex, including maybe some shade. That we're missing the shade.
Yes.
The trees are still pretty small.
So they should be through production. This has been a little bit longer process also for us, but these are custom designed shade structures over our main set of bleachers behind each field. And we're just awaiting for the material to get here, and we'll get those in.
All right.
And then along with that, we are currently doing some warranty work on all that concrete we poured. We had a few panels that cracked. So the contractor's down there getting that all wrapped up before winter hits, and we'll be pretty much done with that project.
Something else we wanted to bring listeners up to date on behalf of the City of Elko Parks and Recreation Department is that you were able to redo a lot of bathrooms. Any family listening who knows when you redo a bathroom, it's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and these are public restrooms, so it is a big deal. They've been in our system for quite some time, and we got a lot of years out of them, but we wanted to do some improvements. So they're getting interior and exterior painting. We're getting brand new partitions within the restrooms. There's a little bit of plumbing work here and there in any particular bathroom. We've done new roofs. And so we started this project last year with a budget of $100,000, and we came in right at $100,000 on the two. We started at the restroom behind the museum and the Johnny Appleseed Park restrooms, and those turned out fantastic. What a difference it made. And now we're working on the Southside restroom and the Angel Park restroom. So we may have a couple more to do next year, but we've planned that into our 5-year plan, and we just want to get to every outdoor restroom we have and spruce them up.
Yeah, that was, I think, one of the comments that came in when the city did do some strategic planning, that we did need a little facelift in some of those areas. I know that you gave a shout out during the meeting to the street department, because they've saved the city a lot of money by these departments working together, because they were able to pave and maintain our parking lots.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We used to, Joe and I would get together and we'd work a little bit with Dennis, but we'd hire a contractor to do that work. Wasn't a bad way to do it, but we sat down with Paul, and he said, hey, we can do some of these things in-house. We have to schedule it and work around their schedule, but they have time and they love doing that and they're good at it. And anyway, we stretched our $50,000 budget out a long ways by performing that work in-house.
Well, thanks again to Paul Algerio and his crew. You saved the city some money and you put out a good product, so that's something to be really proud of. We're talking to James Wiley. He's our City of Elko Parks and Recreation Director. We have a few more minutes, and so I always love to squeeze in a few more surprises. There are some upgrades coming to Sno Bowl, but all we can do with Sno Bowl, our winter recreation site, is really hope for snow.
That is a big, that's the big one. It looks like the forecasts are quite a bit more favorable for this year than they were last year, so we're kind of banking on that. We're ready to go. There's a few things we need to wrap up there in terms of finishing up our annual inspections on the lift, a little bit of maintenance here and there, but otherwise we're waiting on Mother Nature to deliver some snow. Generally speaking, we typically open up that second weekend in January, and we'll go as long as the snow lasts. Sometimes we get 4 weeks, sometimes we get 6, sometimes we get 12. But we'll run it as long as we can, or at least until we have to start shifting gears and come back down to town for spring sports.
Wow, that's exciting. Year-round activities and amenities on behalf of Elko City and County residents and visitors. This, believe it or not, just as the tournament was described, this really does enhance tourism as well as the quality of life. People come here for all kinds of events and activities. Just because you or your family may not participate in a sport or event doesn't mean, that it's not generating some income for the community. I know you mentioned, too, the Warnock Complex. I think that's junior football leagues. Speaking of, because every time I drive past there, it could be really cold outside. They are out there playing junior football. They have little mini cheerleaders. The whole thing is going on out there, James, and they're getting some redo as well.
Yeah, so we started some design work on that several years ago. It's just up there off of Flagview Drive, so it sits down in a hole. It slopes off of the road quite a bit. It's down in a bowl. We've had a lot of issues with that slope and storms washing sediment and stuff down onto the fields. We fought that for years. So we want to do some work on that slope. We want to be able to retain some of that runoff on there, retain the slope, and also possibly put some in-slope seating into there for spectators. We're looking at doing a paved parking lot up there, which will take a lot of that storm water away from running down the slope in the first place. And then we are looking at a new restroom facility up there on the end of that. And so that will be nice. That's been a long time coming as well. And kudos to our football league for getting by all these years of what we have. But
your turn's coming.
I want to finish off the design work and then a few more years out the road, because this is a big project. This is a $2 to $3 million project, and we're kind of looking out there in 2030 to possibly look at construction.
Yeah, and I did want to pass along, that also came up during the advisory board meeting. The city's on a bit of an austere budget right now, overall within the city, but also Parks and Rec. You're kind of pinching pennies and you're saving, but you're still making plans. You have a 5-year capital plan. Growth is going to happen. It's important that you prioritize and you know where you're going to direct those resources.
Exactly, and we try hard to plan at least 5 years out. Some years we're flush with money, and other years we have to pinch some pennies here and there, and we actually need to save some money so that we can do these projects, some of these bigger projects. But I think we have a solid plan moving forward. We're always looking forward. There's a lot to do. If you look at our master plan, there's several goals and objectives in there, and we try and meet those the best we can currently, but also for the future. So it's a good guiding document that we have, and it kind of keeps us going down the right track.
James, thank you. We do have time. Again, I wanted to squeeze in a couple things that kind of wrapped up your updates you gave during the meeting. We do know the golf net is up at the city golf course. That is actually a project of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The city did not install the net. The city does not maintain that net. The church was permitted to do it. It's in. Are folks still golfing right now, or is the golf course gone to bed?
They are golfing.
Okay.
Our official closing for the season will be November 2nd. That's a Sunday. So
okay.
The 31st is typically that date, and that's Friday this year, but why not give it 2 more days? Of course, it's weather pending. I don't know how dicey the weather will be, but the goal is to have it open at least until the 2nd, and then we'll be shutting down regular golfing activities until next spring. We'll leave the driving range open as long as we can, as long as we don't have snow on the grass. But that worked out well last year. We just had the driving range open. It's bring your own clubs, bring your own balls, retrieve your own balls, but it does give people who can't quite put that golfing bug to rest for the winter, it gives them a little more opportunity to go swing some clubs and be outdoors and get a little activity in as well.
We wanted to give credit to the success of the golf course. The restaurant and bars really popular. John Carr's been heading that up, but also Rick Longhurst is going to give the city at least a couple more years. He went ahead and the city renewed his contract. So that's got to be good news for Rick Longhurst fans.
It is, and we have both contracts renewed for an additional 3 years. So the bar and restaurant side and the golf pro side. And Rick has been there for a long time. I know he's retired 2 or 3 times and come back, but he has done a wonderful job. The golf course in general is in a great position. I think I made this statement to our city manager the other day. I do not remember a time when the golf course was actually operating in the black. And so what an accomplishment. I think this is the first time since I've been here that we have not had to subsidize the golf course. So incredible. And thank you to the community for supporting it, because that's really what it comes down to.
Well, that's the headline. Congratulations. Yeah. That is wonderful. That is great news. We'll talk more about that, obviously, in the future. Kind of just closing out, there's always so much to talk about with our amenities. These belong to all of us. Our golf course is a municipal course. That means it's open to everyone and it's not exclusive. And now we just got back our historic Girl Scout house, right, James? And that's under your purview.
It was before, and I don't have a problem with that. I would assume that a lot of that will fall under my purview, especially the grounds. We also have a facilities department within the city, and the building itself would probably fall a little bit to them. But yeah, it's unfortunate that the Girl Scouts are in the position where they needed to cease their operation, at least with that property. But that reversion clause in the conveyance exactly says that. If they cease to continue that operation, it has to revert back to the city of Elko. So I believe we are going to have a number of discussions and meetings and just see how we can move forward with that facility. I'm sure that it will require some influx of some cash, and because it needs a little bit of help. It's an old building. It was when we conveyed it to the Girl Scout Club. But more to come on that front. I would say after the council meeting, the number one goal would be able to still facilitate the Girl Scouts so that they have a place to meet and have activities, but it could also open up some opportunities for the rest of the community and other groups, including our own recreation department if we decide to go down that road. But I think we have some good ideas of how to move forward in utilizing that building. We'll just have to wait and see timeline and budget and priorities and see how it goes from there.
That's great news, though, James, that our city attorney, Dave Stanton, jumped right on that, saw that as an opportunity, not pointing fingers, just saying, look, this is a little time capsule in the center of our community. It's a great space, as you said, could be utilized for other nonprofit partnerships, programs, for the city. It's a beloved space, and there are many fantastic memories. So good to know. It's an 80-year-old building, by the way. So in case it's got that charm, as a realtor would say. Yes, it's a very charming little building. I guess out of the things that we have, I know we're heading into Snowflake Festival season, Nevada Day Parade next Friday, hoping, fingers crossed, our sidewalk restoration, a little out of your area, but I know you're at all the city meetings. So hopefully that's going to be ready to go.
I think they have plans on laying down some asphalt.
I think they were doing that
this week.
Yeah.
That should finish up most of what we need to be going into winter. There will be a little bit of work down there next spring because we need to finish off the landscaping in the spring, but a good portion of that is already in down there.
James, thank you so much. Last, just a quick mention on the Endow community fishery that came up during the meeting, not quite on the agenda yet, but that's also in the works.
Yeah, so we've been working with Endow for a while now, and we're finally starting to see some significant progress in moving forward with having this thing be a reality. The latest news I have on that is we received some grant monies through NDOW for design and engineering. And so Dell and I had met with a consultant. They've given us a proposal for design, and we met with NDOW last week, and they're still looking it over. But I think for all intents and purposes, this will be the road we go down. And that should be roughly maybe a year-long process. There'll be community meetings, opportunity for community input. At some point, we will come up with 3 variations of park layout, and we'll take community input on which one they like the most. But yeah, that's going to be probably close to a $300,000 project just to get the engineering and design done. And then once we get to that point, it does open a lot of doors for additional funding because we basically have a construction project ready to go. We just need to get the funding, and that's very helpful in securing other grant monies. It's really an advantage if you have, here's our plan, this is what it's going to look like, and I think it opens up more opportunities for funding. So we'll have to do quite a bit of fundraising to actually pull it off, but that's where we're at.
James, thank you so much again for all your careful planning and consideration. It's wonderful to have people like you who work for, the city of Elko. James Wiley is our Parks and Recreation Director. He talked about Dale Johnson, who's the Assistant City Manager. It doesn't hurt to have a regional manager for NDOW in Caleb McAdoo because this is his hometown. So yes, when we come together, we do amazing projects. And this is a conservation project, and we know how generous our conservation groups are. When they get together, wow, they sell a lot of things like at Ducks Unlimited, the Elk Foundation, then those are the kind of groups that step up to help make these things happen. So, yeah.
I think it'll be exciting, and I don't see any problem in the community stepping up. They always do, and they always have, and that's how we've accomplished what we've accomplished in the city of Elko, not just on a parks and recreation front, but on many different fronts. That's the motto here in this community. If we want to get it done, we'll step up and we'll get it done. And hallelujah, what a great community we live in. And I'm thankful for all the support that I've had and my department's had, and it's just been great.
That's the best place to end the program. Thank you, James, so much. James Wiley, he's absolutely right. That's how we get things done here. And thank you, listeners. You've tagged along a little longer today than usual, but we had a lot of ground to cover with our Parks and Recreation Department. Thanks again for joining us. You can find the program archived at elkoradio.com.